The anime begins with a girl in her classroom, but due to getting average marks, she is considered a loser like yourself and can hear others gossiping about her. She can feel the stares of others on her and anxiously prays to God to help her. A person tosses a coin saying her prayers have been listened to. Our wonderful god MC named Yato has come with his regalia, a god's weapon and spirit, Tamon. We see a monster called a phantom outside of class form due to the stress of the class students as exams are near. Yato and Tamon begin their fight with the phantom and defeat it. After the fight, Tamon shows her desire to leave her position being his regalia as he is poor and has not got his shrine. I didn't know a god could be so similar to me so quickly. Yato sadly releases her from being his regalia and she walks away happily. Now Yato does not have any shrine where he can go and spend time. He aimlessly rovers in the streets and gets a call that someone's cat has been missing. The cat's name is Mylord, and to search for it, he goes to a market, where he passes by a girl named Hiyori. When he crosses her, he sees Mylord sitting in the middle of the road, and to rescue him, Yato runs into the road. Suddenly, Hiyori pushes him from behind to avoid getting hit by a truck. They both are driven across the road. When she notices her surroundings, she finds her body on the road getting involved in an accident while her soul is outside her body. It makes her crazy. Truck Kundun struck again. The next moment we see she opens her eyes in the hospital, where she is in her body but does not remember what happened to her. At night, Yato weirdly visits her and they introduce each other. In the morning, she feels weak and dizzy, and returning home from school, she searches for Mylord's cat. When Yato retrieves the cat, Mylord, some phantoms appear there. Yato runs from them, but they chase him as the smell of cats entices them. Yato finds it difficult to fight with phantoms without regalia, and he is about to be attacked by one huge phantom. Hiyori arrives there and then pulls him away from the phantom. They both run from the scene and reach a safe place where phantoms cannot be found. Hiyori again finds her body aside where she is standing far from it, and her soul has a tail. Hiyori has come there to find Yato because she has so many things to ask from him. He tells her she exists between far shore and near shore, where the near shore is the living world, and the far shore is an afterlife. She is half phantom like others who possess others, but she is different. And after hearing this, she wants to know how to get out of this problem. He agrees to help her, but only if she pays, of course. He tells her to give him a 5-yen coin as he is a god. She has a yen coin and gives it to him. He ensures her that her wish will be granted. It's morning and Hiyori is at her school. She falls asleep in her classroom and always feels drowsy, but aside from being drowsy, she can see small creatures, phantoms around her surroundings. Unknowingly, her soul leaves her body one day, and she comes out of her school. She finds herself like a bird and roams around the city and observes random phantoms. When hopping on power line wires, she notices a dark aura coming out of somewhere and suddenly remembers Yato has not contacted her yet. She must have seen my ex in one of those phantoms. After returning to her body, she calls Yato to tell him to get to her. He arrives at her location and gets to know from Yato that he is the god of war born from Wish. He warns her that as a living phantom, another phantom would try to possess her, and she would cross the line between worlds. After listening to it, she asks him to fix her. He knows about it as they have made a contract and shows his wish to create a shrine with the money he collects. He tells her that he has no regalia for now, so it will be difficult for him to help her. He gets a call for a job and leaves her behind. She is nervous about her condition and decides to find a regalia for him. She finds it everywhere, and after seeing a dark aura, she plans to go there as she can see spirits accumulating there. Yato is at the job of repairing a bathroom, and after repairing, he receives his coin. He goes to an empty shrine of another's god. He gets a call from Hiyori saying she has found a regalia for him. He arrives there and sees a huge phantom round, one born out of emotions. Yato and Hiyori start running from it, and it follows them. Hiyori says that she is agile and can move freely in her phantom form, so she hops on houses, and about to kick the phantom, Yato pulls her from the tail. But his arm is engulfed by a phantom, and he somehow pulls it out. They run to a peaceful place where she sees Yato's arm. He tells her he has defilement in his hand. He warns her to stay away from him as it will spread to her too. She learns from him that her tails are the connection between her physical form and phantom form. If it is destroyed, she will die. The phantom arrives there too, and they start running from it again. Yato finds a pretty young spirit. He has no choice but to make it his regalia. He reads chanting and makes it his regalia, a great sword. Using it, he kills the phantom, which vanishes into the sky. After the fight, he goes to some shrine and cleans his hand to remove blight through the water. Hiyori reaches there, and Yato gives his sword name Yukine. After receiving the name, the sword transforms into a boy who shivers from the snow and the cold outside. Yato offers Yukine his jacket, but Yukine refuses, saying it reeks of sweat, so Hiyori gives her scarf to Yukine. As Yato is a poor man and has no money, he provides Yukine with some clothes from trash bins, and for starvation, Yato finds some leftover fish from the bins. Yukine cannot understand his situation and wonders if he did not know God would loiter in the streets, search for food, and sleep at someone's shrine. All of a sudden a god is starting to sound more like me. Yato makes Hiyori treat their food as Yukine is a new colleague and hungry, and she has to make Yato find a way to fix her problem. She learns from Yato that Yato and Yukine are not invisible but can be seen when noticed but get forgotten easily. After filling their stomachs, they leave the restaurant. Outside, Yato tells Hiyori that God and his regalia share the same body and mind. Yato receives a call and leaves, taking Yukine with him. Arriving there, he gets to know Hiyori has also come there with them. They are at a place that is surrounded by mist. Yato suspects someone has given him a fake call to get him. Someone appears who makes cherry trees bloom and reads some popular lines from a poem that makes Hiyori believe that he is the god of learning, Tenjin, and seeing his elegance as god, Hiyori and Yukine bend after him. Seeing this is hurtful for Yato as he is a god, but Yukine and Hiyori do not respect him that much. Tenjin has called Yato there because he has many wishes from students as exams are near, and he wants Yato to deal with phantoms. It's Tenjin's shrine which Yato has been using for days. Yato shows resistance, but Tenjin compels him by giving Yato a yen coin, and to guide him, Tenjin calls his regalia Mayu. She is Tamon who worked under Yato. When going for a job, Mayu tells them there is a phantom who has been possessing people, and due to it, a student took his own life. Yato seems indifferent and says that if a person is possessed and wants to commit, then let him be. A person possessed to commit or is already dead are the same. Hiyori makes him understand that he should kill phantoms and save lives, but Yato does not show concern, and Hiyori runs from there. When Yato is about to go away without doing his job, Mayu compels him by saying Tenjin has paid Yato in advance. Yato agrees to work and makes Yukine ready up for his first job. Hiyori is on the other side and angry over Yato. She sees a phantom clinging to a man's shoulder. She goes to kick it but misses it. There are multiple phantoms, and unable to fight back, Hiyori is captured by them and trapped on a railway track. Yato comes to save her, and they get on the train where Yato and Yukine have a job to kill a phantom who makes students to suicide. Similarly, they see a phantom compelling a student, and they get on time there to kill it. Going back, Hiyori learns what Yato meant back then. He did not want the regalias to see others taking their lives when the regalia used to be people and died. At night, Yato gives Yukine a jacket to warm himself. Yukine accepts it and sleeps, taking it over himself. We see someone observing them in a shrine while they are sleeping. Yato is his fantasies and dreams about his empowering that he is the most incredible god and has a fan following. Yukine wakes him up as he cannot sleep because of Yato's sleep talking. In the morning, Hiyori brings a meal for those two and expects Yato to fulfill her wish. Yato shows them a random pot and other items he bought, which is a scam to make him rich. Hiyori and Yukine altogether break that pot, and Hiyori makes Yato understand that he should consider feelings of Yukine and be like a god to him. Yato makes a serious face after listening to it and asks Hiyori if he has someone whom he wants her to meet. Yato brings Hiyori and Yukine to a place where the god of one of 7 fortunes, Kafuku, resides with her regalia, Daikoku. There they introduce each other, and Yato warns Hiyori and Yukine that Daikoku is into kids. So Daikoku knocks Yato out not to create a misunderstanding between him and the others. Kafuku asks Hiyori about her relationship with Yato, but she gets ashamed and cannot answer Kafuku. Kafuku makes them aware of the rumor that despite his looks, Yato can be a terrifying god. Soon, Yato appears, saying he has a job, and takes Yukine and Hiyori with him. The job is to save a man, Yusuke, who is about to suicide from the building's top. Yato arrives there with the other two but makes Yusuke fall from a building. Yato, Hiyori, and Yukine, the trio, also fall with Yusuke to save him. Yato introduces himself to Yusuke and asks why he chose to commit. Hiyori cannot understand why Yato is asking questions while falling but is not saving him. Yusuke, unexpectedly to Hiyori, explains to Yato the reason for his actions, that he worked at an ad agency that got bankrupt and had no choice. He was trying to apologize to his parents before falling and wrongfully called Yato. Yato asks him how it all started from the beginning, and he had decided to jump. Yusuke tells Yato that on his way back home, he got to meet a girl who was of the same age as Hiyori.
あなたぐらいの年格好だったものですから。
She was not allowed to leave her home, and that night she sneaked through it. Yusuke considered her like a bird in a cage and asked her to go with him. They started dating each other and used to buy her new clothes and used to visit a lot of places. But some random incidents happened around the place wherever they went. His performance at his job got dropped, and he went bankrupt. Yato seems to know the person he is dating and asks him to show her a picture. It is Kafuku, and Yato introduces them to her that she is the god of poverty who brings disaster. The fall seems unexpectedly long, as we can expect from fantasies. Yato and Yukine cut ties of Yusuke with Kafuku and make him forget her. In the end, Yusuke lands on the ground safely without any injury. At Kafuku's place, Kafuku tells them she had fun with him, and Daikoku does not let her go outside because of her fate. When Yato and Yukine leave that place, Hiyori asks Kafuku about Yato being the god of war. She tells Hiyori that Yato killed his regalia and many people. Yusuke adds that it was long ago when people used to kill each other. When returning home, Yato meets Hiyori and tells her that if something happens to him, she has to go meet Kafuko and Yusuke. Near a lake, Yukine is sitting, and a girl arrives saying he has good eyes. Yato goes there asking the girl, Nora, what she wants there. She tells Yato to call her by name, which he gave her, and will always be waiting for him. Saying this, she disappears, and Hiyori wonders if she is also his regalia. Yato and others are outside, where Yato picks a small phantom. He tells others that a regalia has the power to draw a borderline between them and phantoms cannot pass through the borderline. He asks Yukine to draw it, so Yukine does and creates a strong borderline. Yato gets impressed and appreciates Yukine. Hiyori asks Yato about Nora, who she is, and he tells her that Nora is a friend of benefits. Hiyori decides to take Yukine with her as Yato is not befitting for Yukine's guardian. Yato shows resistance as Yukine is a boy, and staying with a girl creates dirty thoughts in his mind. Due to the shared body and mind with regalia, Yato can feel tingling pain in his body. Hiyori and Yato both insist Yukine go with them, but Yukine chooses Hiyori over Yato as Hiyori is comfortable staying with her. They arrive at Hiyori's place, where her parents have not gotten home yet. She takes him to her brother's room, who no longer lives there. While going downstairs, she sees her parents have arrived with Yato at their back. They cannot notice him, but Hiyori can. Outside, Yato is on a tree, and Hiyori asks him why he is coming there as it is ruining her whole point of looking after Yukine. Yato knows about the past of Yukine and tells her that Yukine is afraid of darkness. Shrines are sacred places for God and regalia and save them from phantoms. The night is a time of delivery, and phantoms attack at this time, so he is afraid Yukine might not be able to handle this darkness. Back at home, when Hiyori is in her room, Yukine says her father turned off the light in his room. So Hiyori invites Yukine to sleep with him. She considers him a kid but is at puberty. Being afraid of darkness, Yukine agrees to sleep with Hiyori in bed. Hiyori sleeps well, but Yukine finds sleeping difficult as Hiyori is so close to him. Yato arrives there and asks him not to sleep with Hiyori. Yukine gets flustered, saying Yato also has a girl as a regalia and does not need Yukine for his tasks. After saying it, Yukine gets to his room. In the morning, Hiyori takes Yukine to a shop where Yukine takes a skateboard without buying it. Hiyori reprimands him, saying it's stealing and putting the skateboard back in place. When she turns her head, she finds Yukine disappeared. She searches everywhere for him, but she cannot find him. Yato is also at the mall, and at the end of the day, Yato tells Hiyori that a regalia is also human and different feelings are born of temptation in regalia. The sin of acting on temptation, God can feel the pain. God has ruled over the regalia and can give punishment to them. Hiyori loses consciousness while Yato is talking to her. It's night approaching, Yukine feels freight and an eagerness to go home. He notices a small girl. She hugs him from behind and asks him to wait with him for her mother. While talking, he tells her that her mother won't be coming for her. Upon listening, she starts crying and goes away in the dark. Many phantoms begin to appear to corrupt the girl's soul. Yukine draws a borderline to avoid phantoms coming to the girl. But a great phantom is approaching them, which Yukine cannot fight with. Hiyori pulls Yukine back, whereas a phantom captures the girl. Yato arrives there and asks Yukine to kill Phantom. Yukine does not want to kill the phantom-possessing girl, but Yato makes him understand that it is suitable for a girl to save her from suffering. They both get successful in killing the phantom. We see someone informing a girl about Yato killing a phantom and getting a new regalia. Yukine has started to be afraid of phantoms, even small ones. He is at the mall, where he blames Yato and Hiyori for this and steals a skateboard from a shop. Hiyori is out to search for Yukine because he has been upset, and Yato has not come there to meet him. While skating, Yato finds Yukine and asks him about the skateboard from where he got it. Yukine lies, saying Hiyori bought it for him. While they are talking, Hiyori arrives there and feels glad that Yukine is together with Yato. Yato asks Hiyori if she has bought a skateboard for Yukine. Seeing Yato's enraged face, she lies by accepting that she has bought it for Yukine, which surprises Yukine. It's sunsetting time, and Yato explains twilight as the boundary between day and night. It is a time when those who live in other worlds run wild and attack as monsters. Listening to it, Yukine feels anxious and fear of darkness. While stating this, a girl, Bishamon, appears, riding on a lion, the god of war. She attacks Yukine using her whip, but Yato pushes him aside. Yato tells them that he is on the wrong side of Bishamon for some reason in the past, and now she is today to revenge him. Bishamon states her motive is to get revenge and bring justice to evil. Yato drives Yukine to be his regalia, and they run away, leaving Hiyori behind. Bishamon starts chasing Yato, where her regalia, Kazuma, is the navigator telling her the location of Yato. Yato hides behind a building where he tells Yukine to stop being childish as his emotions affect Yato, so Yato is tired. Yato comes out of hiding to fight with Bishamon, but Yukine does not want to fight for him. While fighting with Yato, Bishamon says she won't let him kill any regalias. Yukine feels down, and the sword cannot deflect the bullet as it has done before to save Yato from Bishamon's attack. Yato starts running away again. We see Hiyori has come to where Kafuko is and tells her that Bishamon is chasing Yato. There Hiyori learns about Yato being the god of calamity and he has killed Bishamon's regalia in the past. Despite listening, Hiyori begs Kafuko and Daikoku to help Yato, and they agree. Yato hides in the forest, and Yukine asks Yato if he has killed Bishamon's regalia. Yato accepts. Yukine wants to know the reason, but Yato does not tell him, saying he just wanted to kill her regalia. Bishamon appears there searching for him, and they are about to fight. Kafuko arrives there, and using Daikoku as his regalia, she opens a vent driving out phantoms from it. Bishamon calls her lion regalia, who bites Yato, but Nora, hidden in bushes, binds lion using her spell. Kazuma now wants Bishamon to retreat, and while going, she states her words to get revenge on him with her hands. After the fight, they all go to their places. Yato tries to clean the blight that has occurred in his back due to rebellious acts of Yukine but cannot clean it. Nora appears, saying he can use her wherever he wants it. Bishamon takes a bath at a hot spring and thinks Yato has blight, which has weakened him. She had a chance to kill him. She calls Kazuma to give him a status report of vent opened, and he appears, informing her that it has been 3 days since vent had opened, and with the help of several shrines, it has been closed, but some phantoms had escaped and needed to be killed. Bishamon knows it's her responsibility to exterminate the phantoms, and after getting out of the hot spring, she calls her regalia to go on a mission. Hiyori comes to Yukine's room to bring him breakfast.
Thank you, Hiyori.
But she finds Yato and asks him about Yukine. Yato tells her that Yukine would be at Tenjin God's place. Hiyori runs there and finds Yukine, who asks Tenjin for permission to work there as Yato does not have his shrine and is broke, and even he has his regalia beside Yukine. Tenjin appreciates Yukine asking for his help, but Tenjin does not want Yukine to be a Nora. Hiyori asks Tenjin if Nora is not a name. She explains that Nora is the title given to those who have more than one master and are more likely to betray their master, and that is the reason Nora is considered detestable in the divine community. They are used to performing tasks God does not want to give his regalia. Hiyori leaves that place, and while standing on top of the building searching for Yukine, Hiyori sees Bishamon, and suddenly Kazuma appears behind her. He restrains her in one place through his power when Bishamon comes there, so she cannot sense Hiyori. Kazuma tells Bishamon about the area being cleared of phantoms. Kazuma releases Hiyori from his spell after Bishamon goes. Kazuma then asks Hiyori about the condition of Yato, who has been suffering from blight due to Yukine's rebellious actions. If it continues, Yato will die, and Kazuma wants her to help Yato and deal with Yukine. We see Yukine is frustrated that Tenjin did not hire him, and Yato comes to him, saying he has a job, and takes Yukine with him. They are at the general store helping the owner at night, but Yukine does not like it. Hiyori with Kafuko and Daikoku arrive there, where Daikoku shows him a job invitation as Yato has no other job to do. Suddenly, Yato feels pain in his back and sees Yukine at the counter. Yato runs there, sees the money box, and suspects Yukine of stealing money. Yukine does not accept it and runs from the shop and staggers on his way, dropping a box of money. Everyone sees it, and Yukine runs away again. Yato accepts the job from Daikoku and goes for it. Hiyori follows him, and while going, she makes Yato understand that regalia is not a tool but a human with emotions. Yato senses Nora with Yukine and runs towards them, where she has been making Yukine believe that he is useless to Yato. Yato transforms Yukine into a sword to kill a phantom around them. They fight over it, and Nora keeps compelling Yato into using her, but Yato tells her to get away as he has Yukine for him. He has named Yukine and will reforge him, saying that they cut the phantom into pieces and leave the place together. Hiyori is in her school's bathroom thinking about Kazuma, who once told her that Yato might die due to Yukine's actions. She sees Yato behind him with Yukine and misunderstands that they are there to peek at her.
奇遇だな、日和。
She beats them. Yato tries to explain to her that he is there for job marketing and opens a bathroom where a male student has been sitting in the girls' bathroom.
こちら。これは。
She beats him too. He tells her the reason for hiding there is that he has been bullied at break time, and to avoid being hit, he came there to hide. Yukine does not seem to like that boy, Manabu, and Yato tells Yukine he is just like Manabu. Yukine does not accept it and goes away, slamming the door. They leave the bathroom, and Yato gives something to Manabu. Yukine enters a classroom where he sees many students who are friends and having fun there. Yukine finds them lucky and feels lonely. Manabu is also in that classroom where some students make fun of him. A phantom is born, pushing him to kill those students or himself and forming such thoughts in his mind. We see Kafuku watering her garden. Bishamon appears there with her regalia. They are there to seek augury, which is the prediction made by Kafuku about places where vents are most likely to be opened, letting phantoms into the lively world. Kafuku draws a lot of circles on maps to predict vents' location. Having so many vents opened, it is difficult for Bishamon to exterminate them all. Bishamon asks Kafuko if she is an acquaintance of Yato, even knowing the past of Bishamon with Yato, and suspects maybe Kafuku is purposely opening those vents to keep Bishamon away from Yato. Kafuku threatens that it's none of her business now, but if something happens to Yato, Bishamon has to be ready for a big storm. Bishamon is surprised and leaves that place. Hiyori is at her school and wonders about Yato and where he could have gone. She searches for him and finds him in the infirmary. He is lying on a bed where she thinks he may be hurting due to blight. She tries to check it by lifting Yato's shirt and waking him up. She tells him that she has been worrying about Yukine. Yato senses a dark aura and wonders who the loser is, Manabu or Yukine. We see that Manabu threatens one of the bullies with a blade that Yato gave him, and he approaches the bully, but Manabu cannot bring himself to kill the bully. Yato and Hiyori arrive there and relieve Manabu, who returns to class afterward. But Yukine loses himself and wants to befriend someone else, and Yato wants him to understand where he belongs. Yukine starts to break the glasses of classes, and Yato's blight spreads throughout his whole body. Hiyori takes Yato on her back and gets infected too, and while going away, Yukine sees them suffering. Hiyori tells Yukine that Yato has been enduring all pain because of his actions. They go to Kafuku's place where, seeing Hiyori and Yato's blight, Daikoku draws a border between them, not allowing them to enter Kafuku. Hiyori informs Kafuku and Daikoku that Yato is about to die. Daikoku lets only Hiyori enter the Kafuku's home, where he asks Kafuku to cleanse Hiyori's blight. Yukine has to be punished for Yato's blight, which only ablution can achieve. It requires 3 regalia to be performed. Besides Daikoku, they require 2 more regalia, and Daikoku goes out to get them. He first goes to Tenjin's shrine, where Mayu agrees to help him. Daikoku goes to different shrines to ask for help, but no one agrees. Hiyori listens to Kafuku on a call with Daikoku, who tells her they require 1 more regalia. Hiyori herself leaves the house to get one. First, she thinks of Nora but decides to ask Kazuma. She goes directly to Bishamon's shrine and shouts Kazuma's name loudly. Daikoku reaches home, telling Kafuku he has 1 regalia with him. Hiyori reaches there, bringing Kazuma with him. It makes Daikoku surprised that the Kazuma group is against Yato's. So how come he has come there? Kazuma owes Yato personally, and that's the reason he has come there to help Yato. Kazuma asks Yato to revoke Yukine's name and expel him, but Yato does not agree. Kazuma asks Yukine what he has done with Yato, but Yukine is indifferent, saying he did nothing special. They make Yukine strip his shirt and find he has phantoms harboring his body, indicating how much Yato has been suffering. 3 regalia surround Yukine and create borderlines around him. It is the way of ablution where the regalia is driven to confess his sins to other regalia punishing him. But if the sin regalia denies his wrongdoings, he starts transforming into a phantom, and the same goes with Yukine, who does not accept what he has done and transforms into a phantom. Soon, he starts to accept that he has stolen and broken stuff, but the living beings deserve it as they are the ones who get all the stuff. He resists back and suffers within boundaries, making Yato also agonized. The phantom of Yukine spreads on Yukine's body, prevailing over him. Yato wants to call Yukine by name, but he is not energetic enough to say it. Hiyori runs toward the boundaries and calls Yukine's name. She forbids him to transform into phantom and makes him understand that Yato is there for him. Yato has endured all his actions just like his father. Yato calls his name and says that he has given Yukine a name and wants him to live as a person. Yukine comes to his senses, confessing his crimes that resulted in this mess, and the ablution ends. In the morning, each regalia is tired of punishing Yukine. Yato makes Yukine apologize to Hiyori, who has done all for Yato, not letting him die. She embraces them while crying, which makes others pleased. Yukine works hard under Daikoku to repay the money he stole and wants Hiyori to give him books, which she would throw away after attending high school. It makes Yato and Hiyori cry like they are Yukine's parents. Kafuku arrives there, saying to Hiyori that she is in debt because she had come to Kafuku to ask for help. Trio goes to Tenjin's shrine to thank him for helping them get back there. While Yato is talking with Tenjin, Mayu takes Hiyori and Yukine aside. Hiyori asks Mayu if one regalia is missing in the shrine. Mayu informs them that the missing regalia was corrupted after listening to Yukine's condition. Tenjin is strict about such matters and has punished her through ablution. Hurting oneself or others is considered betraying the master, and revoking one after ablution is an act of kindness so the other master can take it afterward. Yukine is lucky that Yato is still taking in him. There is always darkness beside them, and crossing borders will let them corrupt their soul. Inside the shrine, Yato asks Tenjin how to fix Hiyori, as she has been staying in her phantom form lately. Hiyori has paid him for it, but Yato has not considered it because he does not know its solution. Hiyori has greatly helped him, so he wants to help her now. Tenjin suggests he cut ties with her as he has been pulling her to their side. After school, Hiyori goes out with her friends, where she learns about a god, Rabu, famous for disappearing a person if someone wishes to him. Yato is at his job when Hiyori calls him to invite him to Tenjin's shrine for the first New Year visit. Yato agrees when she tells him that there will be food stands. Hiyori gets ready in her pretty kimono and joins her friends to go to the shrine. In the shrine, Hiyori sees Yato from his back and runs towards him in her phantom form, leaving her body behind to her friends. But in reality, Yato and Yukine have not yet reached the shrine. While going there, a phantom attacks them and they fight back. They eliminate it, but there are tons of them, and Yato and Yukine start fighting with those phantoms. Hiyori, on the other hand, reaches a park following Yato but does not find him. When returning, Nora appears there and attacks Hiyori using her puppet dogs, who follow Hiyori to bite her tail. Hiyori is agile and jumps to the building where the sun rises, and sunlight striking the dogs makes them vanish. Nora informs Hiyori that Rabu God has woken up who would eliminate Yato. Yato has grown weak due to Hiyori, and going to her, Nora does something with her. We see Yato has done his job and goes to Hiyori for shrine, but she does not recognize them, saying who they are. Hiyori does not remember just Yato or anything about him. It bothers Yato so much that he decides to bring her back to normal. He takes Hiyori to where they first met, rescuing a cat, my lord. After many hints, she cannot remember who Yato is and wants to go back as she has arrived there to give Yukine her books. It makes Yato sad, and he decides to draw a picture book to make her remember him back. Yato and Yukine go out to buy art materials to make picture books and spend all the yen he has collected. While coming back, Nora appears there and Yato learns she is behind all this stuff. Nora does not want Hiyori to indulge in far-shore matters and expects Yato to return to his normal self. Nora is the regalia of Rabu God, who used to be an acquaintance of Yato back there. Rabu appears there, transforms Nora into his sword, and attacks Yato. Yato and Yukine fight back. Yato shows his killing intent to Rabu, as Rabu would kill him if they held him back. Rabu tries to make Yato remember his past, where his extent of power was not like his present self. The atmosphere fills with the dark aura, which makes other gods alert. Rabu is strong enough to injure Yukine, who transforms back into a human self. Nora returns to human form and promises Yato that if he can defeat Rabu, she will return Hiyori's memories back. Saying it, they disappear from sight. Yukine is at Kafuku's home, where Kazuma visits them. Yukine learns Rabu is the god of calamity born out of people's evil desires in order to kill others. He killed people to fulfill those desires along with his partner, Yato, who is also the god of calamity. Hiyori knows all about it, and she decides to stay friends with Yato as she knows he has changed. Yato is at Tenjin's shrine, where he tells Yato that it might be better for Hiyori not to remember him and avoid her transformation into a half-phantom. While returning, he meets Yukine, who has decided to make Hiyori remember Yato, but Yato shows no concern. Yukine takes a picture book drawn by Yato to Hiyori, where he lets her see how they have become friends, but Hiyori cannot remember it. Nora meets Yato again. He sees the memory orb of Hiyori dripping. Nora wants Yato to visit them. With that dripping, Hiyori loses her memory about Yukine when she is about to take a coloring book from Yukine but does not take it. Yukine cries at the bank of the lake that Hiyori has forgotten about him. Yato joins him, and they decide to bring her memory back. They go to Hiyori Place, where they tell her they will get her memory back and want her to rest and wait. For some reason, she starts crying, and when Yato and Yukine are about to disappear, she clings to Yato's shoulder, but Yato and Yukine vanish from sight, and her body falls. Rabu and Nora are at the place that used to be Rabu and Yato's shrine. Yato and Yukine arrive there, but Hiyori, in phantom form, also comes together. Yato and Rabu start fighting with their regalia. Rabu captures Yato in his water orb. Yato is unable to cut it from the inside, and Hiyori saves them from it. Yato thanks Hiyori and makes a grateful face, which Rabu does not like. He wants Yato to be in God of Calamity form and cross swords with him then. Rabu goes to Hiyori to attack her, but Yato comes there and runs, taking Hiyori with him. They reach a distant place where Yato wants Yukine to run with Hiyori, and he would stay behind as Rabu wants Yato. Rabu arrives there, too, carrying an orb of Hiyori memories. He throws it far away. Yato goes to it, following it, but Rabu breaks it through his sword. Hiyori loses her consciousness and becomes a vessel without memories. Yato takes her away from sight and becomes enraged at Rabu. Seeing a dark storm in the environment, Bishaman learns that it is due to God's calamitous appearance. Yato has become strong with killing intent showing in his eyes, and that's what Rabu has desired. Rabu cannot stand a chance against Yato and absorbs Dark Storm, merging with phantoms to eliminate Yato. They fight, and it results in the crumbling of rock. Some rocks are about to fall on Hiyori, and Yato rushes back to save her. Yato is on top of Hiyori, letting her not be hit by rocks. Hiyori is unconscious but can smell the scent of Yato and suddenly opens her eyes. She can recognize Yato and her past with him, and Nora is surprised that Hiyori has been able to break Nora's spell on her own. Rabu captures Hiyori and blames her for Yato's condition. Yato wants Yukine to kill phantoms harboring Rabu. Yato slashes Rabu, due to which phantoms gets killed, and Rabu is by himself and gets weakened. Yato easily defeats Rabu, who wants to be killed by Yato. This way, the atmosphere gets cleared, and Nora feels her plan failed and decides to tell her father about what happened. Upon returning, Yato says Hiyori needs to cut ties with them to give her a normal life, but she rejects him, saying she does not desire it. Back at Kafuku Place, Hiyori tells Yato she wants to be with him forever. It makes her embarrassed, and she tries to explain that she is not saying it in a romantic way. Yato charges Hiyori a 5-yen coin for granting her wish, and she gives him a coin, making it a happy ending. Meanwhile, Bishaman gets a nightmare of the worst day of her past when she was helpless and injured while Yato cold-heartedly murdered many of her regalias. She wakes up feeling a refreshed remorse against him. Yato is happily looking for odd jobs as a god while Yukine is sitting at the side questioning Yato's childish excitement. Hiyori excitedly gets ready for her day in school, confident about her prep exams, but when she gets to school and starts explaining a concept to a friend, her soul slips out again. Hiyori decides to jump around the town to pass her time and ends up sensing some familiar smell. Yato and Yukine are currently at a house changing the baby's diaper and putting him to sleep when Hiyori enters the place. They are surprised that she found them this easily, while Yukine and Hiyori are more surprised at how easily Yato is handling the kid. Turns out his mother is too tired and passed out right now. Hiyori sits and observes how Yukine got excited that the baby could see him, so Yato decided to tell him how to pick and play with a baby. Suddenly, the environment of the room changes and a phantom in the form of a stuffed rabbit appears from the wall behind Hiyori. Hiyori counters against the phantom and Yato leaves the rest to himself and takes Yukine as his sword while Hiyori handles the baby. Yukine is a little scared as it is a closed space with a baby inside, but Yato gives him confidence that he can handle creating a boundary of who to hurt and who do not. Hiyori's being beside a mirror makes Yato figure that the phantom was created by the baby's loneliness as he played with his reflection in the mirror, so the evil spirit lies inside the mirror. Yukine successfully gets rid of the phantom in the mirror. Yato wants to leave without cleaning the mess, but the other two rational people stop him from doing so. Bishaman asks Kazuma to look for Yato yet again as she wants to have her revenge. While Hiyori teaches Yukine, Yato brags about getting a magic gem for a heavy price only for it to be an ordinary keychain for which Mr. Adult got scammed.
やっとそれいくら20万何してくれてんだ
Yato and Yukine walk around while Yato screams about his job like a street vendor when he notices Bishamon and barely dodges him. He tells Yukine to avoid encounters with her at all costs. Bishamon finds a human with a phantom attacking her. With the help of her regalias, she easily gets rid of the phantom and transforms the girl into her regalia too, even though she becomes a broken regalia due to being a torn spirit. The girl, Mina, is welcomed by Bishamon to her huge family of regalias. Kazuma, however, worries about Bishamon for her heart to save everyone also makes her suffer since a master faces the effects of the clouded minds and the tainted feelings of former humans that become regalias. Bishamon tells him not to worry and proceeds towards her ritual bath. While she bathes, Kyugaha mentions hearing a rumor about Kazuma going to Yato's ablution ritual a while back, but Bishamon is confident in her trust in Kazuma. Yato tries to manipulate Hiyori into bringing him some cheese buns while she reminds him to help her with the issue he promised about soon too, or she won't leave him alone. Yukine hangs out with another regalia, Suzuha, whom he met outside, but it is only after a good amount of time that the conversation about who regalia he is comes up. Yukine stops in his tracks upon getting to know that his new friend belongs to Bishamon. To his misfortune, Kuga is around to hear he belongs to Yato. While Kuga is busy collecting sap for some pills while Nora visits him, Kuga tells her he met Yato and finds him useful for his future plans. Yato and Yukine have a very intense meeting in the attic, but it turns out Yukine just wanted to inform Yato about making a new friend. Mayu later keeps on dissing Yato while praising Yukine for socializing and not being like Yato. Yukine gets excited to see Suzuha so much that he doesn't even spend much time with Yato and keeps rushing around. Yato is surprised that Suzuha has never heard of Yato before even though he serves Bishamon, but it is good for him so he lets it slide. Yukine insults Yato when Suzuha praises Bishamon because while Bishamon has a huge family of regalias that live in luxury, Yato steals Yukine's money and gets insulted all the time. Suzuha, however, is a little jealous of how close the two seem, while his master hasn't even called his name in a long time. Suzuha then shows Yukine a cherry blossom tree that he was treating. He promised this girl, Tomoko, who used to visit her grandmother in this area, that he would care about this tree with her. However, the girl always used to forget about him and stopped visiting soon. This makes Yukine sad as he fears Hiyori will forget about them soon too. He shares this fear with Yato and cries about it while Yato calmly listens to him, clearly feeling sad but hiding away his feelings. At night, Suzuha is observing the tree when Kyugaha visits him and coldly mentions how Tomoko will never come back again, nor will he ever be remembered or called by Bishamon again. He leaves a broken Suzuha telling him his life has no purpose, and on cue, he gets hunted down by phantom dogs. Bishamon wakes up with immense pain in her chest as she realizes one of her regalias has died. The next day, Yukine and Hiyori visit the three and wait for Suzuha, unaware of his painful death, while Yato stalks them around, which earns him a beating from Hiyori. While walking around, Bishamon realizes seeing the withered flowers that Suzuha is the one who died. She walks around trying to communicate with her other regalias, but everyone hides their problems from her, not wanting to hurt her. Kazuma worries seeing a tired and weak Bishamon sleeping but gets serious upon seeing a blight on her neck. He summons all the regalias to check which one has gotten corrupted, but no one has any mark on their body. Even Kyugaha is spotless. Kyugaha tells Kazuma that he might be getting overprotective, which seems true to everyone else, as when Bishamon visits them, the mark on her neck is gone. Kyugaha visits Suzuha's tree where Yato is currently standing. Yato can sense the smell of dogs and is sure he killed Suzuha. Kyugaha attacks Yato with slashing barriers, assuming he is powerless without his regalia, but Yato humbles him a little. Kyugaha leaves, but not before hitting a nerve by hoping Yato doesn't fade away by their next meeting. Yato screams sadly about not disappearing as long as this someone remembers him. Nora feeds her murderous dogs while Kyugaha mentions confidently that Bishamon is weak enough, and some of her regalias are ready to fall by only a little push, so they will be able to take her down soon. Aya goes to Kyugaha wanting her phantom to disappear so she doesn't harm Bishamon, as if she isn't doing so by being jealous and harassing her fellow regalias. Kyugaha takes this opportunity to manipulate Aya. Hiyori buys the cheese buns for Yato, but her friends start getting suspicious that she has a boyfriend. When she gets free and turns to walk away, she smells the presence of Yato, who is currently hiding in a trash can and stalking her. She hands him the buns and assures him that she can meet him daily so he doesn't fear that she will forget him. She also tells him she will keep her promise and not forget him even if they don't meet. Yato gets shy and hides in the trash can yet again. Kazuma apologizes to Kyugaha for his doubts earlier. Kyugaha informs him about losing Suzuha in the lower realm, which makes Kazuma leave to investigate the death. Yato, on the other hand, refuses to let Yukine try to find Suzuha since he has an idea Suzuha is dead, and also because the area isn't safe anymore. Kyugaha uses the opportunity to care for Bishamon to tell her that Suzuha was friends with Yato's regalia. Yukine is adamant to go to the cherry blossom tree and uses food to distract Yato from stalking him. He finds Kazuma by the tree placing flowers there. Yukine wonders if this has something to do with Yato telling him the place is not safe. Yato feels his chest ache, making him worry about Yukine when Nora suddenly appears there trying to manipulate Yato into getting rid of the strings that hurt him. Yukine follows Kazuma to ask about Suzuha, but he ends up touching Kazuma the moment he goes back. Yukine ends up in Bishaman's palace, but his desperation to know about Suzuha is greater at the moment. Kazuma tries to silence him that Suzuha is dead and to stop from Bishaman finding out about him, but Bishaman appears to be standing right behind them. She points a gun at Yukine while Yukine starts screaming at Bishaman for letting Suzuha get attacked and die. He blames her for having too much regalia and that she cannot protect them. Bishaman seems pained, but this also proves the rumor about Kazuma saving Yato. Kazuma tries to tell Bishaman that Yato is her savior, but Bishaman is angry and banishes Kazuma. Her weakness, however, stops her from taking away his name. Kazuma ends up in Kafuku's residence while Kyugaha uses this opportunity to have every other regalia move on from Kazuma. Yukine ends up being depressed as he loses a friend and causes trouble for Kazuma. This takes a toll on Yato as well, but when Yato and Hiyori discuss it outside, Eiha appears there attacking him. The appearance of excessive phantoms by the courtesy of Kyugaha prevents him from doing anything. Hiyori's soul gets trapped by Kyugaha as Yato leaves to catch Eiha. Kazuma tries to save Hiyori, but Kyugaha seems to have an upper hand in the situation and takes Hiyori's soul hostage. However, Yato assumes all this is a doing of Bishaman. Hiyori wakes up in a prison cell where Kazuma is looking outside. Kazuma tells her he has tried everything to get out but failed. Hiyori worries about Yato, but Kazuma tells her she might die here too if left for a little too long. Yato worries about Hiyori while she lies in the hospital. Kazuma wonders why Kyugaha and Eiha are using their names for to not be affected when he calls them out. Hiyori questions why his name is different than others. Kazuma tells her that all her new regalias are the Ha clan, but he is the sole survivor of the clan that was slaughtered by Yato, the Ma clan. Bishaman is ready to kill Yato as well as Kazuma. Yukine feels responsible for what happened to Hiyori, but Yato simply came to take him to get her back from Bishaman. Daikoku tries to stop him, but Yato doesn't even respond to his voice. Kazuma tells Hiyori how badly Bishaman took the killing of her clan, which built her hatred for Yato as well as her kindness in making every torn soul her regalia even though they turn out to be weak. Kazuma suddenly figures Kyugaha is doing all this for succession. Eiha shouts at Kyugaha as the phantoms on her body are spreading. Kyugaha finally reveals that Eiha is now vulnerable to listening to him or having herself finished as a traitor. Kazuma figures that Kyugaha plans on having Bishaman killed. Since her name will still be called a god, she will be reincarnated and he will take over Kazuma as her new guiding voice and control Bishaman from there on. And Kyugaha kidnaps Hiyori, so Yato gets mad and kills Bishaman. Yato and Yukine go to Bishaman's palace with the aid of Tenjin. He then straight up intrudes into the palace. Bishaman is already outside ready to fight him while Yato and Yukine realize that without Kazuma's guidance, her attacks are more wild and irrational. Yato is still handling things well while confronting Bishaman about Hiyori, but Bishaman is unaware of what he is talking about. Hiyori asks why Yato killed her clan, so Kazuma reveals he is responsible for it. Back then, he was the weak regalia among others, so when Bishaman fell sick and got blighted, the regalias started fighting about who the traitor was and started becoming phantoms in enmity among each other. This made Bishaman even more vulnerable, so Kazuma had no choice but to ask the god of calamity, Yato, to kill all the regalias before they consumed Bishaman. Yato did them a favor, but Bishaman started hating him, unaware of the reality. This is why Kazuma refers to Yato as their savior and enemy at the same time. Hiyori is now even more worried that the commotion outside needs to be stopped. Outside, Yato is finally separated from Yukine, but as Yato is being attacked brutally, Yukine in his sword form comes forth and gets cut into two to save Yato from the fatal blow. Kazuma and Hiyori try their best to break the door, but Hiyori starts to lose the connection to her body and falls weak, making Kazuma worry about her too. Yato starts feeling the pain of Yukine getting hurt, which makes Bishaman mock him about the pain of losing a regalia. But when Yato still doesn't feel his name removed, he calls Yukine yet again. The energy of his appearance is enough to push back Bishaman. Two blades appear in Yato's hands as it turns out Yukine's ultimate sacrifice and loyalty made him transform into an ultimate regalia. This time, Yukine can dodge the stronger attacks too. While Bishaman is still fighting, the effects of medicine on Eiha wear off and her phantom starts spreading. Bishaman screams in the pain of getting so brutally corrupted, but she is not the only one affected. All the regalias attached to her at the moment get blighted too, but Bishaman refuses to release them yet. The regalia is not connected to her worry about who could be corrupted, but Bishaman still adamantly starts fighting Yato. Hyuga finally reveals his true intentions in front of Aya, that he doesn't want to live among these weak regalias that Bishamon keeps hoarding. Bishamon is still strong with her hatred, but Yukine's transforming is serving Yato good defense now. All the regalias get inside the palace to protect themselves when Kuraha comes across Aya. Bishamon seems to be getting blinded by her hatred as she refuses to acknowledge the pain of her regalias and keeps using them as weapons. Inside the palace, Kyugaha's phantom starts devouring the weak defenseless regalias, making Bishamon think Yato is behind all the deaths she is feeling. Kuraha takes Aya to get Kazuma out. Hiyori insists on tagging along to stop Yato from killing Bishamon. On their way back, Kuraha apologizes for not noticing Kyugaha concealing Bishamon's blights. Hiyori feels bad for all the regalias for faking smiles to protect Bishamon, as she likes how Yato and Yukine bicker out their problems and resolve them right away. Bishamon keeps wildly blaming and attacking Yato. Yato starts to find it disturbing that she isn't releasing her regalias and is about to kill her when Hiyori appears there. Kazuma explains the entire situation to Yato, but Bishamon is still mindless and attacking everyone around her to kill Yato. Yato feels like killing her is the only way to stop her at the moment, but Kazuma pushes him away, receiving the blow by Bishamon's attack. He hugs Bishamon and starts taking all her blights to himself while explaining the situation of the past and how he is to be blamed instead of Yato. It was just her hatred for Yato that made her strong again, so Kazuma didn't have the guts to tell her the truth. Bishamon wails like a child on this closure while hugging Kazuma. Yato tells her to release her regalia, which she does while crying about losing a lot of regalias yet again. Yukine wonders who is killing them if not Yato, but it is obvious who is behind all this. Hyuga finally gives his appearance, shocking the ones who were unaware of him being behind all this. He still calls himself loyal and starts insulting Bishamon that she was supposed to be a fierce god of war who only made strong regalias, but she started collecting weak people as well and hoarding them. He keeps insulting her for being wrong and incompetent and insinuating that she should kill herself and get reincarnated with him as her new guiding voice. The moment he is about to touch her face, his hand gets cut off. Yato stops him from touching Bishamon and starts mocking him for acting like a whiny kid and causing so much trouble just to get some attention from Bishamon. Yato tells Kyugaha that a god can never be wrong. Kyugaha gets offended by that and refuses to accept that he did anything wrong. He then brings out a mask that creates a phantom to attack Yato. The phantom attacking the people inside gets to the two girls left alive, but they run towards the spiritual pond of Bishamon for safety. Yato faces the phantom while Kyugaha keeps sending snarky remarks to Yato about being weak and worthless. He doesn't shut up until Yato easily defeats the phantom. However, before Yato could reach out to Kyugaha, Bishamon came in between. She still considers him dear to her due to all the memories they have together. Kyugaha is still insistent that he never betrayed Bishamon, which turns out to be true as Bishamon didn't get stung when he said. However, when she gets to know that he released the phantom to devour other regalias, she takes away his name and banishes him outside her palace. She leaves to save her remaining subordinates and Yato tries to follow to help, but Hiyori tells him to let her handle this. Yato makes sure to tell her he thinks she is never wrong. Bishamon appears there at a time and saves her remaining regalia while putting the affected ones down to remove their pain. Kazuma dreams about the past during this, but when he wakes up, Bishamon tells him about the remaining regalias recovering and Aya patiently getting her ablution. She also tells him that she still needs him as her guiding voice no matter if he thinks he doesn't deserve this. Bishamon thinks he is allowed to make mistakes as a human, so no matter how much he messes up, she will still cherish him. Everyone gathers in the room upon seeing him awake, and he gets to witness a cute honest exchange among them on the topic of the exchange diary Bishamon brought up to get to know everyone. Kazuma gets emotional upon getting accepted again in this family. Everyone gets excited and relieved upon seeing the three return safe and sound. Yato brags about Yukine becoming his imperial regalia, making everyone have a mix of emotions. Hiyori is happy about all that, but she suddenly recalls her entrance exam and starts leaving. Tenjin stops her to remind Yato that he promised to sever ties with Hiyori so he doesn't put her in harm again. Hiyori refuses to let that happen as she doesn't want to forget about him shocking Yato and everyone else. Hiyori manages to pass her exam last minute and also manages to stop Yato from breaking ties with her. Yato is currently bugging her about joining some club of his, making her chase him around. Bishamon on the other hand gets called on accountability for her behavior of acting rashly for some personal gain of hers. She is also questioned for letting go of Kyugaha, who brought a masked phantom to her shrine. Bishamon mentions Kyugaha being someone else's Nora as his name by her wasn't able to bind him. This proves to everyone that there is a corrupted god amongst the named gods. Okunanashi and the other 6 gods of fortune invite Bishamon for a party, but Bishamon is surprised to see Abisu missing amongst them. On an interesting note, Abisu is currently in front of Yato paying him and Yukine loads of money to buy Yukine as imperial regalia. Yukine is just getting to know that he is also Yato's guiding voice while Yato is being tempted by Abisu to buy his shrine from the money. Yato calls Hiyori about the matter of Yukine being conflicted about what to do in this situation while Yato is sure of not wanting to lose him. Hiyori is studying with Yukine when he mentions the situation. Daikoku intervenes, telling he is also Kafuku's guiding voice since she also owns only him as regalia. He also explains how Yukine has to decide how to protect Yato. Yukine doesn't want to leave Yato as well but also insults Yato about not being rich. Yato gets a client about catching a bank transfer scam while Yukine thinks he should raise his fee from 5 yen. Yato, however, wants to create a name first rather than money first. He knows humans prefer money over everything, which is why all his previous regalias left him and this one might do too. Yukine figures this is why he has to rely on Nora whenever he needs support. The scammer turns out to have a greedy phantom the size of a flea attached to him. It is so small that Yukine cannot attack him with the blade and Yato misses him before he can use his hands properly. Yato follows them while Yukine rushes to get the money that Abisu left for Yato to build a shrine. He uses that money to feed the phantom and have it grow as he realizes he shouldn't let greed affect him if he is the guiding voice of a god. Yato and Hiyori are proud of him, but at the same time, Yato is desperate to have that money for his shrine. Yukine has to use his power as a guiding voice to have Yato focus on killing the phantom. The next day, Yato is hiding in his bed depressed about losing the money for the shrine. Getting a shrine built for him has always been his unfulfilled dream, but things are different now that he has a sweet human attached to him. Hiyori makes a mini shrine for him and gifts him that. Since shrines mean a lot to gods, he tears up pretty badly on finally receiving this honor. Abisu smirks about Yato not giving up on Yukine while his office is filled with masks of phantoms. Abisu turns out to be the corrupted god that has been capturing phantoms and transforming them into hex phantoms that serve him. Yato kept wandering around Hiyori ever since she got him a shrine because he officially got his residence registered this way, although he got it by continuously pestering the office. Yato is in heaven while ranting about how Hiyori's shrine now got him land in Takamagahara. He can attend colloquies, handle merchandise officially, and has a holy book and song dedicated to him. Innocent Yato is so pure with happiness that he overlooks the fact that he only got a teeny piece of land and wrote his song and book. While Yato is busy communicating with other gods in Takamagahara, Hiyori gets worried when she realizes Manabu has completely forgotten about Yato. Yukine visits Bishaman, more precisely Kazuma, because he wants Kazuma to teach him invocations so he can be stronger for Yato. Hiyori is a little troubled at why Yato keeps texting her if not meeting her every moment, but Kafuku explains that Yato has been surviving on people's scattered memories of him for years, but now that he has her, he can live off without worry of getting forgotten. If gods like Yato are forgotten by everyone, they disappear from existence since their purpose has been fulfilled. Hiyori worries about forgetting Yato, but Daikoku tells her to not worry. He believes Yato might have some believers somewhere in the world to have survived this long like that. Yukine gets bullied while training with Kazuma. The inked faces creates good happy fun around Kafuku's place in the evening while Yato is heavily drunk and talking about how his childhood self should see he finally got a shrine. Everyone wonders what Yato's past could have been like. Late at night, Yato is called out by Hiro. He tells her that he doesn't want to throw away his happiness and friends, so he wants to break any associations with her, but he gets a reality check that he is the reason she became a Nora. She then has him attacked by her hex phantoms and takes him with her. Hiyori worries about Yato's disappearance for weeks along with the fear of forgetting him, while everyone else just assumes he disappeared for some reason. On the other hand, Yato is being used by Hiro and her father to do the job of murdering revenge for people and not being allowed to leave their place. Bishaman and Okunanashi visit Abisu due to his affected health, unaware that the real reason is his creating hex phantoms. The two worry about him having some unreliable regalia, not knowing he is the corruption himself. Yato continues to act like a puppet and murder people until he realizes the possibility of Hiyori forgetting him since a month has already passed since he disappeared. He creates a commotion of wanting to leave. Hiro tells Yato's father about Yato expressing to leave, something he has never done before, so the father assigns him one last job in the underworld before he can leave. As Hiro and Yato enter the underworld, she tells him to worry about not coming across Izanami, the deathless god who dwells in the underworld, as she doesn't let anyone leave if encountered. Hiyori's friend gets a ticket for Kappa Land and she is about to say she wants to go with someone but takes an unusual pause before coming up with a name. The flow of conversation then shifts. A meeting of gods is called in colloquy, which is strangely being attended by Kafuku too this time. She hoped to see Yato but didn't find him there. Yato travels around the underworld worrying about wanting to get back to his family of two while Hiro keeps trying to manipulate him about their duo being the best. They suddenly come across Abisu. In the meeting, it is revealed that Abisu, the god absent from the meeting, has been conjuring phantoms and is thereby ready to be arrested, but the other 6 gods seem to be in shock about the statement. Yato confronts Abisu while Hiro reveals they are there to save Abisu. Seeing his health, Yato realizes Abisu has been conjuring phantoms, but Abisu simply wants more strength as he finds this alluring. He tells Yato he needs to see Izanami to get a location brush while Yato just wants to take him and leave. Suddenly, the two are trapped and brought in front of Izanami, but ironically, she looks like 2 different people for both of them. Yato sees Hiyori while Abisu sees an older woman. Izanami, as Hiyori, tries to seduce Yato into staying, but he is brought to reality by Hiro. Abisu tells Yato he doesn't plan on negotiating much with Izanami. Abisu requests Izanami for the location brush, which she eventually agrees to give if one of them stays back with her. Hiyori enjoys Kappa Land but keeps coming up with the mention of Yato and Yukine stopping at their names, highlighting she has started to forget about them. Abisu starts a fight with Yato about leaving him behind while simultaneously questioning why Yato likes living when he doesn't have anyone, but Yato likes to live because he was born from the wishes of people just like any other god. Yato is defeated eventually by Abisu, who points a gun at his head, but it is only a distraction for Izanami so his phantom can steal the location brush. Turns out Hiro was also named by Abisu once, and this was all a plan of Abisu to get the brush. The two rush to leave afterward. Hiyori is enjoying her day but keeps missing something very close to her the entire time. By the end of the day, she feels troubled by not recalling who she is trying to remember. Hiyori worries about the heavy feeling she has been having, but it all comes out when she suddenly hears Yukine's voice. It takes her a while to finally see him, but the moment she reads his name, she breaks down about finally remembering everything. Yukine seems mad at Yato for not telling them about his whereabouts. Hiyori suddenly leaves her body to go and search around for Yato desperately, since she has realized she is no different and will forget him if she doesn't see him constantly. Yato and Abisu try to escape but are having a hard time. Hiro makes one of the regalias of Abisu sacrifice his life to save Abisu. Yato questions why Abisu has to be so desperate for this location brush, making Abisu finally speak out the truth. Abisu wants to make this world a better place and is ready to go to any lengths to acquire this brush that can keep in check the phantoms. Yato is genuinely surprised and impressed that Abisu didn't have any selfish ulterior motive but was doing it all for humanity. This impresses him to the extent that he starts fighting Izanami's subordinates with all his might to save Abisu, not because his father and Hiro commanded it, but because he wants to do this. He also feels determined to get back to Hiyori and make her happy in every way too. Hiyori starts studying different gods in books and online to find out more about Yato now that she has realized she doesn't know much about him. Kazuma visits Tenjin's shrine wanting help to find the whereabouts of Abisu. Tsuyu, who is originally the spirit of a plum tree, talks to other trees and gets to know Abisu is seen at the entrance of the underworld. Not only that, 2 other people were seen around whose resemblances hint at them being Yato and Hiro. The rest 6 gods are held captive by the guards of the heavens while they find Abisu and put him to death. Okunanashi resists it, all ready to hunt down Abisu himself if he has been corrupted. Kazuma also comes to rescue Bishamon and takes her away while the other gods handle the situation here. Hiyori also manages to convince Yukine that she will accompany him to the entrance while Yukine seems pissed at Yato for being with Hiro. Abisu knows he is indebted to Yato as he made him flee while standing back himself, but to his bad luck, the openings to the cave have been sealed by Izanami. He feels like things are going to end now for him and decides to tell Izanami that he will stay instead of Yato because he is well aware he will be born again once he dies. However, Yato is not ready to let that happen, as all the efforts of Abisu will be gone with this personality once he goes through succession. Yato makes him mention a wish and decides to grant it as part of his 5-yen job. Abisu questions how they will leave with the sealed exits, making Yato scream for him to drill a hole or find a way if he wants to master controlling phantoms. Abisu gets the idea and smirks before ordering his phantoms to create a vent for them to leave. Yato is impressed that Abisu managed to do that, but by the time he creates a protection for Abisu, he gets caught and pulled down by Izanami. Bishamon looks for Abisu near the underworld when she sees the huge light of the vent. Yukine and Hiyori also follow the opening, but Hiyori disappears midway. She has been restrained by Kyugaha. Yukine comes back in time but cannot restrain Kyugaha since he is a Nora. Kyugaha starts getting to the head of Yukine that he is weak and his status does not justify the support he can grant to Yato. He makes it all about Yato taking Hiro because she is stronger than Yukine, but thankfully for Yukine, Hiyori is there for him. Hiyori uses the little gaps between dodging Kyugaha's attacks to tell Yukine to not take those words to heart, as Yato considers Yukine his pride and joy. Her aim is fulfilled as Yukine suddenly fights back and defends themselves, clearly showing who the stronger one is in the dynamic. Yato is brutally injured yet relieved that he managed to save Abisu, and he did it not because his father asked him to but because he wanted to do it. Bishamon and Kazuma find Abisu while Yukine and Hiyori also catch up to them. Abisu tells them they need to get Yato out before the vent closes. Inside the vent, Yato barely dodges Izanami and rests for a while with Hiro. He starts getting the thoughts that maybe he should stick to Hiro, who has been with her since childhood, but a sudden thought of Hiyori and Yukine is enough to make him realize what he wants. He starts limping to find an exit but gets caught by Izanami. Hiyori and Yukine wonder how to go inside when Kafuku and Daikoku also appear there. Kafuku mentions how it's dangerous for Hiyori the most to go inside, while Yukine requests Bishamon to take him inside as he is willing to do anything to protect Yato. It's when Kafuku mentions that he has to become a Nora to sneak into the underworld that Yukine falters a little. Bishamon tells him she will go alone and bring Yato back. She enters the vent created by Kafuku ready to bring Yato back because people await him outside. Bishamon tells her regalias to only lend support in escaping and not try to defeat Izanami. Even though they are just trying to defend themselves, it is still hard to phase Izanami with their attacks. Yato finds it idiotic that Bishamon came down just because she feels indebted to him. It is only until Bishamon mentions Hiyori and Yukine waiting for him that he stops his defeated act and resists the ties he is currently in. Outside, everyone worries for them when Abisu wakes up. He can see Yato also has people worried for him. He tells everyone that Yato can be saved in one way, but that would require the only human present amongst them. The Heaves decide that no matter what reason Abisu had to conjure phantoms and Noras, the punishment is for him to be executed. Bishamon is fighting inside with all her might, but as everyone says, Izanami is not someone as easily defeatable. Bishamon ends up being cornered and Kazuma is taken away by Izanami while she orders her subordinates to feast upon Bishamon. Meanwhile, Yato tries his level best to get rid of his ties. Outside, Abisu also believes that even Bishamon would have a hard time against Izanami. He tells Hiyori to use the method of soul call and call the name of the god to bind them to the near shore and summon them outside. Hiyori rushes to do so for Yato. While Izanami tries to force-feed Yato some food to bind him inside, one of the regalias of Bishamon helps her get free from the ties. Bishamon then pushes Izanami away from Yato and is in the middle of challenging Izanami to return Yato when her name is called and she disappears. Yato realizes that he just witnessed a soul call, which means he can leave too if his name is called. Bishamon is shocked at what just happened while everyone else is still worried about why the soul call won't work on Yato. The only possible answer is that Yato is not his real name, but sadly enough, Yato has never shared anything about his past with anyone. Their worries rise when the Heaven's Punishers appear in the place. Yato feels happy and hopeful that he can return anytime soon now, but Hiro reminds him of the bitter reality that he never told anyone his real name. Yato falls back in defeat at the hands of Izanami, aware that he didn't do so because he did not want anyone to hate him for his past self. The Heaven Punishers don't listen to Bishamon to give Abisu a chance to explain himself, and they plan to hold Bishamon accountable too if she keeps acting like this. Abisu, who was first unbothered by death, now has a will to live after meeting with Yato. He uses his phantoms to defend against the rain of arrows showered at him while Hiyori still tries to get her voice to reach a pained and lost Yato. She is confident Yato is somewhere under his real name because of how emotional he gets seeing his shrine. Suddenly, the last syllable of his name strikes her mind and she screams the name Yaboku instead of Yato. The next moment, everyone is shocked to see Yato out and lying to Hiyori. The three finally sigh in relief of being back around each other. Abisu worries upon seeing Takemikazuchi's regalia, Kyun, summoned in its thunder dragon form, as his phantoms don't stand a chance against it. Bishamon protects Abisu and asks everyone to run while she deals with Kyun. Even the Heaven Punishers mock Bishamon for asking Kazuma to lend his support to defeat Kyun, but the next few moments of Kyun being tortured to defeat are enough to answer how strong Bishamon and Kazuma are together. Yukine cannot hold it anymore and starts complaining about Yato hiding things from him and not trusting him while he is ready to give everything to Yato. Yato tries to talk but gets cut off by Yukine's angry rant. The Heaven Punishers go to the extent of creating a pacification ring to publicly execute Abisu. Abisu cannot do much about this lunacy, but Yato wants to fulfill his promise of getting Abisu lunch at Olive Tavern. He explicitly mentions to Yukine about relying on him to deal with this and cuts the ring in half with Yukine. This is a successful attempt only until the ring appears back, but this time beneath Abisu instead of above him. Yato walks around the town with a location on paper, but he is not alone. He is accompanied by a serious-looking clumsy kid who cannot tie his shoelaces. The two sit at Olive Tavern as the kid turns out to be Abisu's successor. Yukine and Hiyori sit in Takamagahara talking about how it was nice of Bishamon to let Yato stay in a recovery room at her place. Bishamon and Kazuma come running to them mentioning that Yato has vanished with Abisu and Kazuma's wallet. Abisu orders his regular there as if he knows what he likes even though he has no memory of his past life. Yato tells him it was a promise to Abisu's previous self by him. This makes Yato a little emotional as he does not want Abisu to have a succession. Hiyori and Yukine peek inside the restaurant while Yato talks to Abisu about knowing only his past self. While Abisu enjoys the food that he once again has found to love, he keeps talking to Yato about not remembering anything from his past. However, it is evident that it is in Abisu's nature to love people and wish for their happiness since this little kid Abisu keeps mentioning wanting to be a good god and hoping he was a nice one in his past self. Seeing Yato quiet, he starts getting sad as he has heard he was executed by the heavens, so he must have done something bad. This makes Yato open up as he starts praising Abisu for being someone who sacrificed his life for humanity. Yato recalls the traumatic moment of having Abisu die in his arms while his last words were not wanting to die. Even though this little Abisu doesn't blame him, but Yato desperately asks for forgiveness hoping it will give him some closure. Young Abisu reports to Bishamon and other gods about Kunimi being chosen as his new guiding voice as the former one, Iwami, is to be expelled. However, since Iwami knows all about his past, he hopes Bishamon can help him hide Iwami from the heavens.
ありがとうございます、知女さん。
ほうほう。
Kunimi later briefs everyone about why Abisu was doing it all and about the location brush disappearing while Abisu still communicates fondly with everyone. His persona of wanting the happiness of others still hasn't changed even after succession. At night, Yato takes Yukine outside to meet. The place being nearby makes Hiyori smell their scent and follow it. She witnesses as Yato confesses to Yukine about being a murderer not only in the far past, but recently too. As if on cue, Hiro appears there so Yato confronts her about the whole Abisu situation. He had figured, but Hiro confirmed that indeed the evil conjurer was his father. Abisu was coincidentally conjuring phantoms at the same time, so he was used as bait to cover up for his father as part of a plan. As Hiro continues to diss Yukine, Yato is finally done. He calls her name and releases her from his association. Yato then turns towards Yukine, wanting Yukine to guide him to make people happy and become a god of fortune while all he knows is fighting and killing. Yukine tells him to then kill the evil before it can harm people. Yukine also makes it his aim to not let Yato murder people anymore and help him kill phantoms to serve people. Hiyori prays from behind for them to succeed in their new ambitions. As the three of them have a happy time, Fujisaki, the guy who was at Capital Land with Hiyori, plays with the location brush in his hand while talking to Hiro about Yato finally hitting his rebellious phase and defying his father. That concludes the recap of Noragami. Hopefully one day we will get a season 3, but if I'm being real, probably not.
どうぞごひいきに。うわー！日和てめえ！
こういうものでした。
乗っかってきた！